right, what is up, you guys? Sage here, and let's talk about the tragic hero, Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Now, this covers a theme that me and a couple of my associates, my colleagues, some friends of mine, had talked about. And it was about a great man versus a good man. Mike Tyson would also be another example of someone who had brought this up in conversation. And it had been an occurring theme in my life where this conversation was coming up. Now, one thing may lead to another, right? Like if I'm bringing it up, then maybe people are going to present it to me more often. And if I'm watching things that are like that, perhaps the algorithm is going to present me more things that are similar to this thing. So it is in that crossroads. It is in those two things meeting that this video idea is inspired. And also around about that same time, I run into this docuseries. Binged it yesterday, the whole thing. It's absolutely incredible because the story is incredible. Regardless of how you feel about how Vince may have been portrayed, I also took the information in with the grain of salt that is, okay, these are these people telling the story, but let me just listen to the details of what actually happened, right? There's speculation and then there's the real stories. Okay. Statement. Vincent McMahon is a cementing of the difference between a great man and a good man. He has done a lot of good for a lot of people, but make no mistake about it, he loved his business more than anything in his life. And when given the opportunity, he chose greatness over goodness every time. So every time he came to a crossroads where he had to make a decision that he could either do good, be good, or do something that's probably not so good, but is going to definitely lead him to a greatness and a greater path and more profit at that time, or whatever the case may be, he chose to do that. Just if you look at how he used some very painful stories that truly did happen, and he brought them to the screen through his WWE, because he was in charge of creative the whole way through. And if you look at how he always blurred the line, and when he had his greatest successes is when he was blurring the line between fiction and reality. And there's definitely a line there. And yeah, at times he did cross it, and perhaps he did so in ways that may have rubbed certain people the wrong way, pushed people away. It may have hurt his family's feelings, his friends' feelings, his own feelings. And that was not his concern. His concern was always what is going to be good for business, right? You hear him say it multiple times throughout the series that he does what's best for business, and that's just what he did. So I'd written a statement before this about the contrast between a good man and a great man, in which I had stated something to the effect of, I'm looking for it now because I don't want to misquote myself or misrepresent my own thoughts. Let's scroll up a little bit. And I believe this one was more so inspired by a conversation I'd had about Mike Tyson. And then a friend of mine said something that inspired this statement. The time used to do the actions that have a tendency to lead to greatness will usually be the same time that one could use instead to pursue goodness. Showing up at birthday parties would be seen as a good thing. Showing up to friends' events, family events, birthday parties, etc., would be seen as good things to do. And when you use that time instead to pursue your what you deem to be your purpose, when you use it instead to feed into your business, to do things that you need to do and check off the things you need to check off in the list to drive success, when you choose to do that with your time, that does give the perception of, man, this guy's not that good of a friend because he doesn't show up for me. But when you take all of that time and you put it together and you think, just imagine how many more hours you get to put into the purpose, then it's a no-brainer that this person is going to be great and exceptional at doing what they do. So the limit is time, was the final statement. And where you put that time is usually going to be the differentiator. between goodness and greatness. So first we covered the morality part of it, which is constantly choosing at every intersection. If whenever there's a decision whether, hey, I could do the good thing, I could do the right thing, or I could do what's good for business. Now, oftentimes or sometimes we hope that that will be the same thing, that the thing that's good to do is also going to be good for business. For example, an example you could make is if I were to start, I've now, we fast forward a couple of years, I've studied business, I've gone in business, all this stuff, and I can actually comprehensively create a product or create a book, a gathering of, so some sort of gathering of information, a collection of videos, whatever the case may be, and I could put these things out. This is something that combines the two, right? Because it's good for me to do because I'm giving you guys the information, but it's also good for business because I'm also building trust between us. Because when you actually watch the things, you use the things, you implement them, and you get positive results from it, then you're going to trust me a lot more for whenever I put out another product and perhaps there's a price attached to this one. You're going to trust that, okay, the last time I trusted him with my time, he delivered. So this time, that there's a price attached to it and the time, it's surely a better product because he has put things out in the past that have worked, you see. So hopefully we have a lot more of those decisions in business than the ones where you have to choose whether you're going to do the morally correct thing to do or you're going to do what's good for business. An example of this with Vince McMahon is there was a sexual assault charges that were placed on him by this female, sexual harassment, etc. A whole lawsuit, 110 million he was sued for. And he later on brings this person back into the company, and he uses the storyline of him getting sued by this person. They included in the dialogue, and this is what I mean when I'm talking about blurring that line, because things did happen, right? This didn't come out of thin air that he sexually harassed me, right? So things did occur. I'm not saying anyone's guilty of anything, right, that they weren't criminally charged for. But all I'm saying is, listen, things happened, and he could have, or the morally correct thing to do would probably be to distance from that person. Perhaps, I'm only making suggestions, perhaps to distance from that person, or to at very least, even if you're bringing the person back in and you guys are going to have a good working relationship together, let's not bring up the fact that I did this to you, potentially. And he instead chose what's good for business, which is, oh, this is so much drama. This is going to pull so many eyes. And so many people are going to want to pay to see this because it's real, right? So it is about skating that line, but understanding that that's more than likely, more than often going to be the differentiator between a good man and a great man, is what he chooses to do when it comes to the morality part of it. There's usually going to be a certain moral thing to do, and there's going to be what's good for business. And then the second part is obviously the time instance, how you choose to use your time. And this is something that may be affecting you in real life today, where your friends are going out, things are happening, and you feel like you're missing out. If that's how you feel, but best way FOMO, Joe, then that's a you thing. But yeah, if the maybe the FOMO is getting to you, maybe that's the situation. But you need to approach these situations with the understanding that you can't have your cake and eat it too in this instance, unless you have to pick a cake. If you pick a cake, then you can eat it too. But if you don't pick a cake, then you're going to be looking at both. You can't chase two rabbits, or if you chase two rabbits, you're going to lose both. Pick a rabbit, chase the rabbit, hunt the rabbit, put that thing on the grill. Yeah, so basically the second element is the time. And you need to approach those situations where maybe people are going out and you're missing out on things. Approach it with the understanding of, okay, this is a crossroads where you have to choose between, are you going to be a good friend or are you going to pursue greatness? Are you going to blend in with the other people and do what they're doing? Or are you going to attempt to be exceptional and by definition be an exception, be left out of those things? right? Because that's something we need to understand as well, that in order to become exceptional, you need to be the exception. You're going to be left out. You're going to be different. You're going to be the odd one out. That's the whole point. And that's why you're going to get a different result, because you are doing different things. And this is not to say that you're going to get there faster than anyone. This is not even a journey of comparison, this greatness thing and the pursuit of greatness. And I'm saying this to say, don't come back here and say, I will say, you said if I didn't go out with my friends that I'd be great. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying, hey, if you do go out with your friends, then you're not going to be great. What I'm saying is, it is in those small micro choices that the character that you are, based off of what you do, is built. That is where the character is crafted, and that is where the path is crafted. So there are people who can get away with going out, say, maybe once a week, going out twice a month, and they can still get there before you. But maybe you're the type of person who has to be locked in at all times in order to get to where you want to go, because you guys have two different destinations, right? Their life is seasonal. And perhaps they're in a season of earning, you're in a season of learning. And in your season of learning, you have to be putting in the time to get good at equipping yourself with the skills that you need to do this big thing. When earning season comes, you're going to earn big, right? But before that happens, you need to be completely locked in, and you need to acquire the skills you need to make those earnings, because they're not just going to come to you. And perhaps they're in a season of earning, and for them, it's an earlier season of earning, and it's based off of low skill. It's based off low skill, low labor, whatever the case may be. And although they are earning substantially more than you at the moment, what you're trying to build up to and what you're trying to get at the end of the day is a much bigger dream, a much bigger vision. So it's very important to approach greatness with that understanding that life is in fact seasonal, and there are different pros and cons of attacking different things within the different seasons. And it's seasonal as well, the goodness and greatness thing, which brings us to Mike Tyson, where Mike Tyson said he understood the duality of goodness and greatness, and the opposing nature of these things, especially within his own life, especially because of what he did, number one, but also what it meant that he couldn't do, or what it meant that his mental state had to be most of the time, if not at all times, which was he had to be ruthless in order to be champion of the world at 19 years old, I believe it was. He had to live a certain life. He had to think a certain way. He had to truly believe that I'm the best ever. I'm the best ever. I'm one of the best there ever was, and that's that. So he had to approach life with this ruthless nature, and in that, there was no room for goodness. There was no room for softness. There was no room to develop that side of him. But also seasonal in the sense that he speaks of, hey, this is who I was. This is who I had to be at that time, and as such, because I had to be that person at that time, I was able to achieve these things. I was able to be great, but I was not good. It was not good that I was doing this. It was a focus that was of incredible proportion, and it took everything out of him in order to be that. So on the other side, where he is now, he's older now. He has achieved what he wanted to achieve, and he's entering a season where he's pursuing goodness. He's entering a season where he's trying to show up for his partner. He's trying to show up for people, be more kind to people. He's trying to be a good grandfather to his grandkids, right? Even though he couldn't be there as such for his kids. So it's also understanding that within this pursuit of goodness, greatness, whatever it may be for you in this season, that there will be another season, and in the next season, it will be beneficial to if you want to have that other thing as well. For example, if we're going to have our work life, we're going to try and have a relationship as well, we're going to try and show up for friends, it is very important to understand that when you're focusing on one thing, the other things need to go on maintenance mode. I'm not saying lose these things, but put them on maintenance mode, right? And be forthcoming with the understanding of, okay, you know what, right now I'm in a season of doing this. This is what I'm doing right now, and that's that. It's about balance, yes, but we need to understand that we want to be balanced throughout our lives. The issue with these balance talks, and why more successful people or hyper successful people don't speak of balance, or speak of balance as being a myth and mythological, is because when we speak of balance, we're typically talking about a shorter time frame. Sorry, by the way, about the construction noise. There's some, yeah, there's some sites and some things being done around. When we speak of balance, we typically speak of it in a shorter time frame, and that's the mistake. So it's more about, not I'm going to try and be balanced within the week, because that's going to be very difficult if I'm going to try and be party guy for half the week and training guy for the second half of the week. That's not, neither one is going to work, right? Maybe I'm going to be training guy from Monday to Friday, and then Saturday I'm party guy, and then Sunday I try to recover. That's at least a little bit better. But if I say, okay, I'm going to be training guy for 6 months, and then I'm going to be party guy for a couple of months, maybe 1 month, 2 months, and then I burn out, then I get back on the horse. I believe that is going to be a lot more benefit. Like, how much progress do you think I'm going to make when I focus for 6 months, and then I put my body in maintenance mode, and then I focus on this other thing, whatever it may be. Say we're not taking just partying and this, we're taking the work life, relationship, and the social life, and then we say, okay, in this first 6 months I'm going to lock in on work, and then we're going to have a whatever 4 month period where I'm focused more on developing my relationship. I'm going to take my winnings and my earnings from this first 6 months, and we're not going to blow it all on this, but we're going to put the business stuff in maintenance mode, and we're going to focus on the relationship right now. And we're going to go on dates, we're going to spend the time, we're going to get to know each other deeper, all that stuff, right? Okay. And then there's going to be maybe a 2 month, 1 month, 2 month phase where this is like your festive season now. This is your November, December. The business is on maintenance mode, and the relationship may or may not be on maintenance mode depending on what you want to do. But it could also be, it could be on maintenance mode, the relationship, and this is time to go out with the boys. This is time to go out with maybe your business associates, and you guys are going to form relationships outside of the work, so that you have more time spent with people, and you get to understand their characters better. You know what they're like when they're intoxicated. You know what they're like at different points in time, and you get to assess a person's character a lot better. So this one is actually feeding into that one, and the time that you're spending away from the relationship is going to make you miss your partner. So it's also going to feed into the relationship season when it comes back around. So when we talk about the pursuit of goodness and greatness, please understand that we're not saying you can only be one type of person in your entire life, or it's not my belief that you can be one type of person your entire life. I spoke on here about not allowing yourself to be boxed into one personality, and not allow yourself to be boxed into one thing, and hey, this is you, this is what you do, and that's it. Because we are a lot more complex than that. We can be many things, and some things that we can become are a shock even to ourselves in a positive way, right? We can surprise ourselves. We can pull something off and be surprised yourself, like, wow, I actually pulled that off. I didn't know that I had that in me. So it's the understanding that you can be everything to everybody that you want to be. Not everything to everybody, but in a way, you can be a lot of things to a lot of people, and you can achieve a lot throughout your life. But it is not going to happen for you if you are trying to do a lot, if you're trying to do too much at the same time. You need to have times where you're more so focused on this, more so focused on that. And through that, I believe that you can live a great life and a good life, by understanding that within the certain periods, your friends may think you're an a-hole when you're locked in and you're busy trying to focus on your vision and trying to build something, a strong, solid foundation. They may think you're an a-hole for not coming to the birthday parties and not coming to the events at that time. And your girl may think, yo, this guy, he's always doing this and that. He doesn't have time for me, whatever the case may be. But you're now building this foundation. Then now it's focus on this, and your business is in maintenance mode, and the people are like, the boss fell off. This nigga used to lock in Sunday to Sunday, boy. He used to be here, he used to be locked in. He's not doing that as much anymore. It's more of a, like, he built the machine, he built the systems, the processes, and now they're just running on their own. There's no creative work being done. There's no next 5 steps. There's no expansion. There's no, like, who are we adding to the team? What are we doing, boss? Because they're used to that version of you. But that's not all you are. You can allow yourself to also be a husband. You can also allow yourself to be dad. And then in that last season, for however long it is, and I promise you that part of life, actually, just one weekend, bro, or not one weekend, say like a solid week, couple of weeks, a month max, is enough to enjoy yourself to the fullest, to the max, and have all kinds of fun. So yeah, I think that's like a good place to end it, is understanding that there is a stark difference between a good man and a great man, and it is within those little decisions, it is in those dedications of time, but also understanding that you don't have to lock yourself in one identity, and this doesn't have to be you for the rest of your life if you so choose. You can choose to be just great and you don't care about being good. That's okay. It's your life. You can choose to be just good and not pursue greatness at all. That's okay too. It is your life. But if you want to be a person who has balance, in my opinion, the greatest way to achieve balance is to approach life seasonally and understand what you're doing in that season and remain focused on the goal of that season. So when you're on vacation, don't take your laptop with you. And when you're at work, don't be thinking of partying. When you are with your partner, be with your partner. Be present in the moments. And I think it is in this way that we can begin to slow life down, to live a slow life, and experience truly things and life as it is coming, the ups and the downs of every season. I thank you. I've been Sage. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop a like, share to a friend, comment if you thought of anything interesting that you would like to share with me or with the other people watching the video. Yeah, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I've been Sage. Signing out. Dedicated, educated, this life I celebrating. Pull up on your block with glass, so make sure I'm decorating. I'll be on my block with killers, ask no question, get the paper. They're the type of guys that take the payment and then see you later. Always out the country, yeah, I'm a